All right, at 6 p.m. Tuesday, July 14th, we'll call the Mount Pleasant Planning Commission to order. Mr. Hollis will do the pledge, and Ms. Johnston will do the invocation. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to come together and to learn and ask questions and make decisions for the city of Mount Pleasant. We pray that you would give us guidance and wisdom in all that we do, and that we would all get home safely this evening. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Roll call. We just need to note that Ms. Graham's not here tonight, but we do have a quorum. Approval, correction of the minutes from 6/9/26.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. No completion or review from prior meetings, no special reports. We'll move right into new business. Manager Grooms.
Yes, sir. Applicant Mark Smith, True Rail Enterprises LLC, had submitted a request for the review and consideration of a site development plan for proposed industrial facility by True Rail Enterprises LLC. The proposed site encompasses approximately 62.05 acres located along South Main Street. The applicant seeks approval of the site plan in accordance with the City of Mount Pleasant zoning and subdivision regulations.
Applicant here tonight. Hear from engineering first, and then we'll get you up to speak on the project, please.
Yes, sir. You've seen versions of this site plan a couple of times now. It was last deferred in November of last year. The latest version has addressed some of the comments that were present at that time related to lighting and some other issues. The only remaining, well, from the planning perspective, there's a remaining question or clarification needed for the amount of parking. It's a unique facility, so maybe the applicant can clarify. But basically, a portion of the building is dedicated for office use. We're not sure how many employees there are, but the majority of the building is the maintenance area for the facility. So when we tried to calculate the parking, we came up with another number than what they had. So it appears that they may be short. There's a couple of options that they can use. They can land bank some and preserve some area for future parking if needed, if they don't feel like it's appropriate at this time, or they could revise it and show the appropriate amount of parking per the calculations, or they may be able to just clarify what's being used here in terms of the category of use and the number of employees that are present. So those are things to look out for, maybe discuss with the applicant. There's another issue that Philip and I discussed this morning related to the proposed water line that may need to be looped per the construction requirements for the utility. So it's something that can be clarified as a conditional use or a condition of approval. Is there anything else to speak to on that?
Yeah, I guess to add to that, if you look at the availabilities, they are expired, but I did talk to our principal engineer.
Oh, yeah, I had a question about that, about the 6-month approvals that expired.
They've had two in a couple of years, and they're basically the same LOAs. I don't think nothing's changed, but the preliminary or the site plan shows what they have on there. And the only thing I would think it'd be appropriate if you did a conditional approval based off of updating the LOAs and then also anything in the construction plans that would be needed.
There was another question back too when I was reading through it about fire protection for the site.
So at the time that come through, it was preliminary, not really understanding. Not sure. I think it's going to be an occupancy that's probably not going to require that with what they're doing with the heavy metals. So not sure on that, but we'll know more on the construction plans and construction documents.
Yeah, I saw there had been like a recommendation for a storage tank there or something, but it's not on these plans. It's not, may or may not be needed.
Yeah, just from fire service background, I don't think that's going to require sprinkling.
Maybe there was some CEC stuff that hadn't been cleared up yet from June 26th. In that letter, there's 3 things in it. Would like to maybe have addressed. I don't know much about that as some of the stuff, but
Which one?
It's the CEC letter dated June 26th to Chris Brooks on,
Stormwater?
I guess it's on stormwater.
Yeah.
There's 3 different things on it that don't have anything on it, so.
I mean, I don't know that part. I don't know if
Okay.
they're here to address it.
I guess we're ready to hear from the applicant then. Please come up, state your name and organization. Y'all don't fight over who comes up. Y'all both can come at once if you like to.
Do we have 2 plans or?
The 2 plans.
My name's Madison with CSR Engineering. Go ahead.
No.
So as far as the questions go about parking, how many employees are with TrueRail?
Currently, right now, there's 25.
So 25, and I think we have 65 spots in our current plan. So we went with that as, enough for current employees and for possible expansion in the future. And just to have still plenty of leftover parking space.
Now, there was a discrepancy between what you said you wanted for office space and what was on the plans.
Yeah, well, and I think it could be due to the categories available in the zoning ordinance. I think you were using the warehousing use. So when we applied that ratio to it, it required a lot more parking than probably you need. So there are options. We could set aside or land bank an area for future parking if needed, if the use changed or something happened down the road. That's one option. Or we could revisit the required parking based on a different classification. So if it's probably more along the lines of a service like maintenance type use, I would imagine, with a set number of employees, but I'm not sure.
I think that's correct. When I did the calculation to try to get to that 65 number, I did use something along the lines of heavy maintenance facility rather than warehouse and office.
Okay. So that might be something we can just clarify on the site plan and might want to note that as a condition of approval to revisit those parking ratios. There's obviously plenty of room on the site. It's just
Right.
what needs to be improved currently and what may need to be set aside for future expansion or who knows what happens in the future.
I think one of the other concerns you brought up was the CEC comments about stormwater.
Right. 3 different things on it.
So I believe those have been addressed. Were those about the getting the TDEC permits in the wetland areas?
That was it appears that a minimum wetlands W1, 2, 3, and 5 are being impacted by the proposed. Yeah. Permitted from TDAC and USACE.
Okay, yes, sir. So TDEC has approved the plans and they've issued the permit and the DWR permit. They agreed with our delineation of the wetlands area. I don't think Corps of Engineers has been involved in that, but TDEC has given their approval.
That was one of the recommendations from CEC, so we just need to get that cleared up. Another was the plans included with the stormwater plan are dated October 2025. The plans submitted are dated May 2026 and have multiple differences. Please note that the final approved plans need to be included with the stormwater pollution prevention plan that is maintained on site during construction. So there's some discrepancy between plans and that. So.
Yes, sir. That has been updated, so the current submitted documents are the latest.
Okay. Anybody else? Comment? How do we want to address the parking, I guess, would be.
I mean, the land bank seems like to me the
Easiest.
that it doesn't seem, it seems kind of silly to pave a bunch of property that doesn't need to be paved. So the land bank would make the most sense to me.
And if in the future you need it, you got it.
Yeah.
Right, already designated for it.
You might want to take a dual approach. Maybe revising the uses that are listed on the site plan allows us to take a smaller amount of parking and apply it to it. We could look at that along with the applicant. And then if there is still spaces that need to be banked, work with them on setting that aside if that's helpful.
Mhm.
How do we get that in a motion?
Figure it out.
Figured it out.
That's Jennifer's job. She's not here today.
So make a motion
What
to,
is,
Go ahead, Corey.
sorry, what is the revised use, Will?
Well, on their site plan, I think they use the warehouse requirements, which are pretty high. It's like 4 spaces per 1,000 square feet. So they may actually be using it more for service-oriented type uses or something along those lines.
It's not a
to
pick and pack
maintain.
warehouse where you
Right. Where you've got a set
So-
number of employees instead of just allocating the parking to
And that
space in
changes
the
the
building.
formula that you use, or
It-
I mean, it changes
it
the
could.
number that's required.
Yes, it could.
so how would the motion be framed?
You might want to say something along the lines of revise the parking
Pending the
requirements
revised-
pending, yeah. Revise the parking ratios required based on use and or use a land bank option for future parking.
That's a lot. to remember.
I know.
Well, I make a motion that we approve it pending a revisal of the business use of the property and the required parking spaces that would be approved for that.
Second that motion.
We also
I
have
think I
to,
heard
Correct.
you
LOA.
say you were addressing these one issue at a time. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
So why don't we wait for that one? Let's address the LOAs
LOA.
first.
Okay.
So we'll do a motion for updated LOAs.
make a motion, update the LOA and the construction plans.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we make sure that all the CEC stuff is correct in the stormwater pollution prevention plan.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go, Pam.
And I'll make a motion that we approve it pending the rezoning of the, or not rezoning, the usage, the business usage of the actual property so that the parking spaces would be equivalent to what is actually needed.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
City manager?
Applicant Joseph N. Bone has submitted a rezone request for a property located at 1681 North Main Street, better described as map 126, parcel 016.00. The applicant requests for 2.5 acres to be rezoned from R1 low density residential to CH highway commercial.
Engineering comments?
Yes, it's the standard rezoning. So there are commercially zoned properties adjacent to the site. They're actually used for residential uses, but you might want to keep that in mind as you're considering your criteria for making a recommendation here. The only resource we have to kind of look to for guidance is the Murray County Comprehensive Plan from several years ago. It doesn't quite include this area under the commercial designation, but it, as we mentioned earlier, it is adjacent to some existing commercial properties. So you want to consider that as you're discussing it as well. It does front on the highway, has pretty good frontage. So I don't think there would be an issue from access or anything like that. Utilities would also be extended to this site as it develops too. So there may be some engineering challenges there, but that would be covered under the site plan. Might be something to keep in mind. But basically just, same process. You might want to lean on your worksheet and go through your discussion that way. Not sure if we have an applicant.
The applicant is here if they'd like to come speak on it.
I'll be happy to address any questions that you have. I'm not exactly sure. Chris has me fill out.
Your name, address.
Joseph Nolanbone. Address of the property at my residence is in Columbia. Yeah, you had me fill out a packet with just some questions and some general things. I don't know if y'all have those or not. If there's anything in particular y'all would like me to address. I know the general rule is you don't necessarily care what I would be using it for directly, but what could be there. So, I don't know that that's really relevant unless y'all do want to hear.
Yeah, I would like to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I own a stormwater erosion control company, Eco Erosion. My plans would essentially just to be able to use it for my business, without, doing anything behind anyone's back. Just be upfront and say, hey, it's commercial, for commercial use, and that's what I'd like to get it zoned for.
Yeah, I think at some time you're gonna build a building there, maybe. It was
That would-
part of the
that-
plan. Yeah, down the road.
Down the road it would
And some
be.
screening to cover the trucks and that kind of stuff. And
Exactly.
site plan and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions for him. We will open, this is a public hearing on this matter. If anybody would like to speak on this matter, this is the public hearing portion of it. Nobody signed up, but if somebody would like to speak on this one way or the other, come on now. Let the record show nobody wanted to speak on it, so we'll go through our zoning amendment worksheet on whether this meets the usage that we think is in the book. So, finding of fact for the zoning amendment. This amendment is not in agreement with the land use plan for the area because.
Well, I'm gonna say there is, because there is currently commercial property there. Okay.
I agree. And if you look at the building, it used to be
Yeah.
a commercial building that got zoned R1 area around it. There will not be an adverse effect upon the adjoining property owners because if there is an adverse effect on adjoining property owners such as cannot be justified by the overwhelming public good or welfare. Won't really see how it will be an adverse. It will not be an adverse effect because there is commercial property in the area. There is not a property owner or small group of property owners that will benefit material from the change to the detriment of the general public.
So,
It's not, okay, reasons, it used to be commercial anyway.
Right.
The following conditions affecting the area have not changed to a sufficient extent to warrant an amendment to the area's land use plan and subsequently the zoning map.
I mean, they have.
I mean, they really have not, but I don't know that it's really relevant in this case, because it could have been, it's just as easily zoned commercial when they did the rewrite as it was zoned R1,
Mhm.
so. The planning commission, so do we want to vote on this? Take a motion?
You want to accept your findings of fact?
Oh, yeah, the planning commission recommends that the zoning amendment, well, it says, will it be approved or disapproved, so.
Okay.
we wanna accept- Yeah, the findings of fact.
I'll make the motion to make the findings fact.
Second that motion.
All in favor? Aye. A motion on the rezone.
Also make a motion to rezone.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Before you go back to, before you go to the next one, can we go back to number one?
Okay.
I just want to take a note so that we can make sure our minutes are right. The third condition of approval, y'all talked about two things. You talked about revising the parking ratio based on the use and then potential land bank. Was that both supposed to be in the motion or just the first one?
Well, I mean, it could still be a potential land bank depending on what they come back with the number of spots.
So with that, do you want to include that as, that meant to be included in the motion, is my question.
We,
I don't think we have enough information really to,
Okay,
till they
all
come
right, so
back
just
and
changing the use for now.
changing the
Yeah.
use for now.
All right.
C,
Applicant Billy Hill, on behalf of Lineage Metals, requests a site plan approval for a proposed 25,000 square foot building to be located on Joe Frank Porter Road, within the Cherry Glen Industrial Park on 6.85 acres, better identified as map 126, parcel 041.69, zone IL light industrial.
Will?
Yes, this site plan was previously deferred to address some outstanding comments related to landscaping. It's not quite in full compliance with landscaping requirements currently. So there's a couple of suggested conditions of approval for you to consider, including making sure the landscape plan meets the minimum requirements of the zoning ordinance. And there's a slight, just minor correction on one of the sheets in the site plan. On the plat of survey sheet, it references Murray County instead of the city of Mount Pleasant. So a minor comment there, but we would like to see more detail on the landscaping plan.
Come up and speak on this today, sir.
No construction. Can we prove it on the contingency of the landscaping plan being complete? Because I think they went back with extra shrubs and stuff, so that wasn't sufficient.
There were just some items in the requirements of the zoning ordinance that weren't addressed around the parking areas, and I believe CEC had some changes for them on the stormwater side, which could have dictated some changes on the plan. So don't know that they had.
I didn't see that come through, so I'll get with Andy tonight, find out what's going on.
Yeah, but that's something we could conditionally approve of, right?
Yeah, if
It
you're
looked like
comfortable
they
with
got most of the CEC stuff lined out pretty well.
Yeah, I think so.
It'd be easy to change the name.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I see the Industrial Development Board's already approved it
Believe
too.
so.
We've got a letter from them saying it's okay, so. I didn't really have any other questions. Anybody else had any other? Entertain a motion on the site plan for Lineage Metals, Joe Frank Porter Road.
Make a motion to accept the conditions of the landscaping ordinance and the change of to City of Mount Pleasant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Manager, D.
Applicant Roger Kelly requests to subdivide 6681 Polk Lane consisting of 7.11 acres into two parcels consisting of 1.80 acres and 5.11 acres. The property is more defined as map 126 parcels 037.01 zone R1 low density residential.
Will?
This is a 2-lot subdivision plat. There's an existing house, existing barn on the properties. The single-family house that's currently there will be completely in the city limits. This actual property's cut down the middle by the city limits. Property is currently served by septic. It looks like they have 2 existing septic tanks on the site. With the plat, though, we're asking that they add a certificate for the health department to sign off on locations of those in case they need any kind of backup soils areas or anything like that. Hopefully that's not an issue for them. Otherwise, it's in pretty good shape and ready for your review and approval. It's zoned R1, meets those bulk requirements of the zoning ordinance.
And there's no problem splitting up, leaving the barn on the other property.
No, they've
Because
added.
that's actually in the county. It's really not even, the barn's not even in
Well,
the
that's a
city
good point
limits.
too. It's
So,
yeah,
because it'd be a non-conforming if it was.
should be a
if it was
non-conforming
in the city,
structure.
Right, but it's not. So it's outside the city limits.
It also has independent service from
Right.
overhead lines and water lines. So
Is the engineer here for this one?
Alan O'Leary, WES Engineers and Surveyors. I noticed that we had that comment on the certificate of approval for subsurface sewage disposal, and I talked to Alan Floyd at TDEC about that, and on existing systems, he does, and I asked Chris to call in, but I don't, Chris Brooks isn't here. To make sure that he was in agreement, but Alan, he only does new systems. He doesn't do old systems. If something happens with this site or something, he would issue them a repair since it's an existing system that's in place now. but the health department won't do anything for existing TDEC. Okay, the health department.
I'm happy to work with Chris on that.
And I'll work with Chris on it too. I just, I made the phone call to Alan Floyd and. that's what he
Okay.
told me.
Might just be a
Yeah, I
simple
think I saw
note.
that in the comments that
Yeah.
you had called them on the comments in here.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't in approvals and we could say, hey, contingent upon.
Yeah, we'll get some kind of resolution on that. They are both existing systems
Existing
though?
systems,
Okay.
yes.
Y'all have any questions, engineer, staff, or anything? Entertain a motion on the approval of this. Making sure we get the health department stuff figured out.
Make a motion to approve the plot with the conditions of the certificate from the health department.
Let's stick it, they may not be able to get one, but at least get it
But,
cleared.
the notes or station.
Second that.
All in favor?
Um,
Motion carries. Thank you. E,
Applicant Derek Mayberry, DTM Enterprise LLC has submitted a preliminary plat for the construction of 4 townhomes on 0.23 acres identified on tax map 133J, Group F, parcel 001.00 and located at 222 Apple Tree Street. The property is zoned R3, high density residential.
Will,
Yes, so the property is zoned, and townhouses are allowed, so I have to fit it on the lot. So the applicant went to the BZA to request a variance from a setback line to accommodate, so that they could accommodate 4 townhouse units instead of 3. So as part of that review, the BZA granted a variance with a condition that the units would share a single driveway that came out to, the cross street. Is it East Cooper?
East
Yes.
Cooper.
So that condition is in place. The current site plan does not reflect that condition because it just happened a couple weeks ago. But that is in effect. So for your review tonight, if you're comfortable, you could review it with that condition passed along, or you may want to defer it to see a revised site plan, make sure that everything fits the way it should and works
Pretty tight.
accordingly. We tried to sketch out a revision just in terms of spacing and blocking, typical size units that they're going for, and it looks like it should be able to work, but the applicant may have some concerns there too to express. The other option would be that they don't take advantage of that variance that was granted and just lose a unit potentially. But hopefully there's a way they can make that work, because I think it would allow things to function a bit better. Some of the concerns raised by the BZA was that the number of driveways hitting that close to an intersection may cause additional conflicts and be a little congested there. So that's some background on it. But the current site plan does not reflect those conditions of approval.
gonna speak on it, please, sir?
Derek Baird is here, owner. I'm Chet Rhodes, engineer with Rhodes Engineering out of Columbia, Tennessee. So we do want to speak to it. First of all, he did a good summary of what happened at the meeting. It's not at all what we were expecting to happen. First of all, the variance for 10 foot on East Cooper was the request that was made. Our request wasn't made with conditions or anything. That was our simple request, was grant us 10-foot easement. That easement request was made because the existing house is within 10 foot of Cooper. We didn't extend the non-conformance with the distance to Cooper with the structure. It's already non-conforming to 10 feet now. Is that me? It's not me, is it? Thought I turned my phone on? I did. Okay. And anyway, so I want you to know that our request was in keeping with what was there. What is there now, we're going to be
Well,
tearing that building.
I'll stop you right there. That's only halfway correct, because there was a single family residence there before you want to put 4 units there. So
that's
you're
true.
changing the total density of the
Oh,
lot.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
so
I'm talking
Let's
about
just talk about apples to apples.
all I was talking about was the variance on the distance to the setback. That's our request. So yes, absolutely. I'm not talking about that. So yeah, we're clearly changing to this, which would be an upgrade for the neighborhood. And the lady on the commission at the BZA afterward, we talked to her and she's all for this, I think. I know Derek talked to her afterward. And so I think we have her blessing. We tried to decide what we needed to do after that meeting because the rear access will not work. Let's look at that. You have a do y'all have your copy in front of you? Okay.
Yeah,
Can
mean, I can-
interject here for a second before y'all continue? So
Yeah, well,
this board is not the appeal board
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do anything.
Yeah, I'm not trying to appeal to that. I'm just trying to make my case with straightforward. I have 2 or 3 things I want to say before I stop.
Right.
That's okay.
You're gonna get 2 things tonight. You're gonna get a denial or a deferral.
Well-
That's all we can do with what's in front of us tonight.
Okay. I feel
So-
differently and I want to explain
Okay,
why I think
but that's
there-
all we can do because
Well,
we gotta do what the BZA
you
said.
have to act within your bounds,
Well,
but I
right.
think that there's an option within your bounds that I see. So
Okay.
I do want to proceed. But first of all, I want you to understand the issue because we said at the meeting, or I did, we'll try to make that work. And we had the comment prior to the meeting about the alleyway in the back access. But I have to show this to you at some point. At least I want you to understand this. So you can see here the 4 layouts. Right now we have front drive access for each unit. The alley would come here, 1 alley access for all 4 units. These 4 would have to share a driveway with this condition, and that is not an acceptable condition. That's not going to work. Nobody's going to want to have 1 driveway for all 4 cars. The simple fact is we got a driveway you can park a car in, a garage you can park in. It's simple, clean, the way we have it proposed. And we don't want to change our proposal on that. We did talk to Chris Brooks after the meeting and said, what can we do? Can we come? He said, no, submit it just like you had it. I want you to know too, we worked with the staff on the layout, multiple versions. And this is one that we came up with Chris Brooks' help and other staff at the department of what they would like to see. So we're trying to meet the comments. And then you have a third-party reviewer that gave the comments that we didn't get till just prior to the BZA meeting. So we're kind of a little caught off guard with that. But notwithstanding, it's a legitimate issue to deal with. I first told Derek, yeah, we can make the rear work. But the more I've thought about it and gone through it, I'm like, no, that's just bad decision. That's just not good. So, I maybe gave them, the board, an idea that, yeah, it was fine to have that condition on there, but we should have objected. And by the time they were voting, we couldn't speak anymore. They said, why didn't you tell us? I said, well, y'all were in deliberations. We weren't allowed to speak, and we didn't want to interrupt you in deliberation, so we didn't. But I think that there was more support for what we were doing there. The only issue really that we requested was the setback. So we think ultimately when the dust settles, we'll have the setback. So now we can talk to y'all about the use and the increased density. And as it is, there is an irregular shape of the lot. You see that it's longer in the back to the front, and the density is needed to do a nice project like this. 4 versus 3 is the difference between it works financially or it doesn't.
So
And
we
it's
can't-
just-
we can't-
I'm
we can't
not-
take that into consideration. The financial aspect, we don't even need to talk about.
Okay, well, we have to take it into consideration
You
as
can,
the
but
applicant.
we can't.
Okay, well, I'm explaining what we're doing, and you'd have to, I don't want you to take anything into consideration other than what you need to. But it's a statement of fact on our end, because we're trying to answer your questions and comments that we're getting. Why can't you do this, that, or the other? And that's one of the answers. So I appreciate your patience with me. I really do. So any other questions, I'll try to answer them. I do want you to know the drainage plan now reflects that that we got your drainage comments. We already gone through all the calculations, but previously we'd shown some drainage areas that weren't right. This is going to drain this way and then down. So I just wanted you to have that one to take care of. So we would like to have, approval on the layout with conditions that we meet staff approval. I don't see why that isn't a possibility here tonight, and I would ask the attorney to weigh in on that. But I think that we asked Chris about this. The only authority they had to make at the BZA was our request, and our request was a simple one for a 10-foot easement. So I'd like your attorney to speak to that, but assuming that would ultimately be approved, I think you could act tonight and, make all that a condition of approval, because I don't want to do anything we shouldn't, but, we don't want to delay either, and that's why we're here tonight. And we forwarded the same site plan, not changed, not addressing the rear setback because we could see it didn't work. So we weren't trying to be rude. We were just trying to say, okay, this is an opportunity tonight to communicate with you all the issues, whether we're deferred or approved with conditions or denied or whatever. I wanted you to hear why we're doing what we're doing, and we want to comply. And what so far the design was based on what staff said was best for us to do. We're very compliant, changed it to meet what they wanted. We had something different. This is their preferred layout that Mr. Brooks would prefer to see for us to get.
I'd rather you not speak for Mr. Brooks when he's
Well,
not here, but thank you.
I met with him about it, and that's
But I've had conversations with Mr. Brooks also, so.
that's fine. I'm not trying to argue that point. And
We thank
I
you.
wish he was here to speak for himself.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we didn't just come up here and say, oh, we want what we want. We've already modified to give them what they thought we should do. So I'm just trying to say, we're trying to work with the staff and do what they want. That's really what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Corey, would you like to weigh in?
Yes, I would. So the site plan that's been presented today, does it comply with the regular setbacks for the zoning?
No.
That might be a question for Will.
No, it doesn't. It was
It does not.
the original
Okay, so it-
submittal.
So if it does not comply with the current setbacks that are in R3 zoning, the only way that it can be approved is if it went to the BZA and got approval. It did go to the BZA and got approval with the condition that the driveway be in the back. So a variance is completely up to the discretion of the BZA. They use that discretion. That went through their worksheet, they have one similar to y'all's, and decided that it would be okay if it had the minimal impact to traffic by putting those driveways in the back. So like I said at the beginning, this is not the appeal board to the BZA, so you can't undo what they did. If you approve it as presented, you're approving something that doesn't meet your zoning ordinance and doesn't meet the variance that was required. I do think the BZA had discretion. Honestly, like, there was no reason presented to grant the variance in the first place. So I think the BZA acted within their discretion. They made a decision. So y'all's choices, like Will said at the very beginning, is either to approve the site plan that's within the existing setbacks, or to approve one with the driveways in the back that crosses that line. That's the only options that this board has today.
Thank you, Corey. Y'all have any comments for anybody? Questions? Go ahead.
So we've done these.
Your name, please.
My name is Derek Mayberry. I'm here about 222 Apple Tree trying to get 4 units. We've done 8 of these units already. We've done them on Locust Street, and the driveways is on the front. We've also done them on Apple Tree, and that's a smaller street than, on Walnut. And that's a way smaller street than we're working with on Apple Tree. So I just don't understand why it's a difference with putting the driveways in the front or the back on Apple Tree.
Both of those are in the middle of the street though, right? They're not near the stop sign or anything else.
That's correct.
That's a difference. So
But it's
that's
no
one
room
difference.
to put, but they was gonna give us the variance for what to do them in the back. What is the difference in doing it in the front? I mean,
Those were already zoned. You already met the setbacks. So, I mean, there was no discussion on any of that. That met our current zoning book.
but we didn't even get a chance to speak before y'all, made y'all decision last time. And we just here because it looks better. We got a plan. The plan was we put this plan together with Chris.
I understand.
So how do we appeal that?
I think it goes to circuit court, right?
That appeal goes to Circuit or Chancery Court.
Okay, what's the process of appealing that? Is it
Get an
paperwork?
attorney.
Okay.
I can't advise you to that, but
Right.
I will send Chris the law and The BZA's decision was the final decision.
But
So the only
when they
appeal-
was making this decision, she was talking about a lot behind mine that was not my lot. And she said it was not a lot in between the lot that we was discussing, and it was clearly a lot. When I
I
spoke to her,
understand, there's nothing that this board
We
can
could
do
do.
about that.
Yeah, we
There's
could-
nothing we can do tonight.
other than an appeal.
But we can't even, you can't
No,
even
I'm not-
appeal
we can't
it.
appeal it
All
here.
we can do is defer
Mm-hmm.
or deny.
Deny.
That's all we can do tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'll just make a request for deferral then to give us time to deal with staff and try to work these issues out. But and at least now you understand what the dilemma is we're working with. And I realize it's a difficult one, but I really think the rear access is not a good idea. So, if we came back with a different setback of 9 foot or 11 foot and changed that the BZA could act on a different request and not have to go to the Chancery Court, if we just changed it slightly. So I would offer that as a suggestion as a possible move forward, because we know, Derek and I, from talking to the staff, that they saw it differently afterwards in the parking lot than they did at the meetings. Well, we didn't know. And it was, we didn't want to interrupt you. So they found out afterwards. I think there's more support from them, which was very encouraging to us afterwards. So I think there was some misunderstanding there, and that's fine. We'll have to work through that moving forward. I realize you can't do anything about it, but I just want you to understand why we're doing what we're doing. So, please consider a request for deferral then. Thank you.
Any other comments? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we defer applicant Derek Mayberry for DTM Enterprises.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. General comments from citizens. Nobody signed up to speak tonight. Would anybody like to speak? No. Board staff comments?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank y'all for y'all's time. Take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.